So the Department of Homeland Security has finally labeled white supremacist terrorism as one of the greatest threats to America. So in wake of the El Paso shooting and many other white supremacist attacks, the Department of Homeland Security had to add white supremacy as the #1 threat to America, and a lot of extremist researchers are extremely happy about that. Now, I'm not happy about it because as I'm reading this particular report, they reluctantly did that because at first when Trump came in, he took white supremacy out of being monitored and watched. So when they stopped monitoring them and stopped watching them, they start doing what we know white supremacists to do. Now, we don't need the Department of Homeland Security to tell us that white supremacy is a threat to America. We've had over 400 years of domestic terrorism waged on the black man and black woman of America. They've used sexual violence. They have used instruments of terrorism like noose. They have committed arson. They have committed bombings. They've done everything you could think of to black people. They have been the greatest terrorists America has ever seen. I mean, the white supremacists would take black babies and tie a rope to their ankle and throw them to the alligators and use them as alligator bait. This is the white supremacists and the legacy of America. Homeland Security don't have to tell us this. They don't change their ways, their moves. And like they say, a tiger don't change its stripes. At the Brookings Institute, Kevin McAleenan, the acting secretary of the Homeland Security, had stated that the recent mass shootings had galvanized the Department of Homeland Security to expand its counterterrorism mission focus beyond terrorists abroad to include those radicalized to violence within our borders by violent extremists of any ideology. He also continued to say that the menace of racially based violent extremism, particularly white supremacist extremism, is abhorrent affront to our nation. The struggle of unity in its diverse population and the core values of both our society and department. Now, he stated that the Department of Homeland Security also released a 40-page document outlining how it will work with local and state governments to improve its data collection methods on white nationalist threats and try to raise awareness and reduce the spread of misinformation across social networks, which have contributed to the fueling of extremist ideology. Well, you have a lot of them in the police departments. So how are you going to root out the white supremacists that's on the police force? You got a problem from the gate if you're trying to get rid of it. Then you mentioned social media. Who's galvanizing who? I mean, what are they doing? Yes, they got these sites, but I'm just always looking at that language because, you know, when they start doing things, you want to watch them with the censorship. Now, Kevin McAleenan stated that in August, they had the mass shooting in Walmart, which took the lives of 22 people, as cementing the DHS new strategy on combating domestic terrorism and targeted violence from white supremacists. As nearly 4,000 DHS employees were based in El Paso, he said this is an attack on all of us and our family. So they said that the policy shift comes as a welcome to extremism researchers who have sharply criticized Donald Trump administration for shutting down a key federal government program that really monitored white supremacists, as we stated earlier. Now, they said that statement didn't sit well with the far right, and to many who have long denied that white supremacists pose a significant threat to national security, and urged government authorities to consider extremist left-wing activism as equally dangerous threat as far-right extremism. Now, of course they're going to say it doesn't exist. You're a Caucasian person that supports white supremacy, of course you're going to say it doesn't exist. But white supremacy will affect anybody. Now, white supremacy affected the Mother Emanuel Church when Dylann Roof killed 9 people. Why didn't they say then, okay, we have a white supremacy problem? Why had to take shooting after shooting after shooting before you said, okay? And see, understand, the manifestos being released is the thing that got them to say, okay, this is white supremacy. If the manifestos wasn't released, they would still be saying it's mental illness. Now, we had covered the manifesto from the New Zealand shooter, and we covered the last manifesto. I think it's one of them we had covered. I'm trying to think of it, which one. But we covered two of them that I know of so far on our other channel. I may release that. We don't know. And that is a detailed going through the manifesto so you can really understand the mind of the white supremacists. And most of them started with the New Zealand shooter. And maybe we need to release that one first before we release anything else, because that guy and what he stated there inspired the El Paso shooter. So you have to read those manifestos because that's how it connects the dots for these terrorists here in America. Now, the mainstream media is going to give you little excerpts of the manifesto, but I believe that we should know their names and we should read the manifestos. Now, in white society, they always say, don't name their names and, don't mention them. Don't give them attention. They already got attention. They didn't kill people. We need to know who they are. We need to know how they think. We need to know how they lived. We need to know who they talked to. Did they worship anything? What ideology they had? We need to know everything about them so we could understand and know the signs. All that, don't speak their names. But when Pookie and Ray Ray do something, you never say, don't speak Pookie and Ray Ray's name. You never say that. Don't give Pookie and Ray Ray attention. You notice they never say that about Pookie and Ray Ray, but when it comes to them, they oh, no, let's not speak their name. They want attention. Let's not make them famous. What? If that was a policy that you would do for everybody, then I would get it. But when I keep seeing that when you have these white supremacists do something, all of a sudden you don't want their name spoken. And then the new thing they're doing is that, well, let's not speak their name so they can go scrub the internet of any information so they can hide any white supremacist ideology this person may have, because it's not a good look for them when we keep finding mass shooters attached to white supremacy. So yes, they're going to scrub the Facebook, scrub Twitter, scrub Instagram, just start scrubbing everything. That's what they're doing now. I mean, they're at that level with it. Because they know when we got the names before, everybody started doing some research. All of the detectives online found sites, found posts, found everything. The mainstream media not going to report it. Instantly, social media have it. They report it. And now they backpedal in and say, oh, shoot, we can't say mental illness now because they found the tweets, or they found the Instagram post, or they found what he said on Facebook. So they said, you know what? Since they're doing that, let's not mention the names. We're going to scrub the internet. Then we mention his name. They can't find anything. Oh, that's a good idea. I know you may say that's a crazy scenario, but that's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand, this country is built on white supremacy. So they're going to try to find ways to protect it. Equality, freedom, justice, that is something that a country should run on. No one should be above anybody. Everybody should be treated the same. Everybody should be free to do, what's right. Everyone should have, equal protection. The resources should be spread equally. Everything should be equal and fair for everybody. But it's not the way this system works. This system works as a racial caste system based on if you are Caucasian, then you get the majority of the resources, not because you're putting in more money or you're working more than the other people. No, just because of the color of your skin. And they want to maintain that. I will say this. See, you try to label a Ku Klux Klan member or a Nazi, they're white supremacy. No, they're white supremacist extremists. They're the ones that's going to go out and do the shootings. No, white supremacists are that doctor that was right here in Houston, that when a black person come in, you talking about calling them Canadians. That's the white supremacists too. You understand? The people that saying the N-word in the street to black people, that's the white supremacists too. Not just the ones that pick up guns and go shoot 20 and 30 people. Do not let them try to label just a Klansman a white supremacist. But them other ones, you calling the police on black people. Barbecue Becky, that's a white supremacist. Permit Patty, that's a white supremacist. It is. Because in this system, that's how it works. So no, white supremacy is much bigger than the ones that's going doing these evil acts. And I want to make sure everybody understand that. What leads them to be extremists is being the ones that's calling names in the streets and calling the police on black people. Then it eventually progresses into more hate. They become more extreme in that hate. And then they start doing the things like the El Paso shooting. They don't start off one day to the next, wake up and thinking I'm going to get a AR-15 and go just start shooting people. It didn't work that way. It started with just a little, I don't like those people, stereotyping black people, calling us names. It's just a progression. So we have to be concerned with white supremacy, even in the minute way it shows itself, before it get to the point where you have 22 and 30 people dead. Well, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story about the Department of Homeland Security. Listen, black people are the experts on white supremacy worldwide. We are the experts. We know about it. We have the stripes, we have the blood, we have the tears, we have the bodies. We are definitely can have a PhD in white supremacy. That's why I would say talk to your black American brothers and sisters, especially those of you who are in the continent of Africa. You want to know how these people move? It don't matter if they're in Europe or whatever. Talk to us. We'll give you the game, how to not only conduct yourself, protect yourself, and also how to get around and thrive even in your own countries. It's not to say we better, but you have to understand white supremacists play in a way that you aren't ready for. And we just see them coming the majority of the time.